These 7 equipment-free exercises build muscle like crazy. Many people believe it's simply impossible to build a great physique without expensive machines that you can only find at a gym. I'm saying this because I used to think the same way. When I first started working out, I felt like I needed a huge gym filled with the most modern and sophisticated machines. I thought the only way to get in shape was by paying that pricey gym membership and going there religiously, sweating it out. But we all know that with the rush of daily life, that's not always possible. Lack of resources, time, motivation. And when I realized that, I started thinking, if I can't go to the gym every day, will I just stop making progress? That's when I started researching and discovered that it was totally possible to keep building muscle using just my own body weight. Today, there are countless examples proving this. You've probably even seen people training in parks or at home with incredibly defined physiques. Since this changed everything for me, today, I'm going to show you the 7 exercises that took me from an average body to something really impressive in just a few months. And the best part? I'll break down each exercise step by step in a super clear way so you can do them correctly. I'll also go over some common mistakes and variations that make the movements even more intense. Exercise number 7, lunges. Lunges, also known as forward lunges, are those exercises where you take a step forward, bend your knees, and then return to the starting position. You've probably seen someone doing them or even tried them yourself without knowing the name. Many people wonder, okay, they're good for the legs, but do they really build muscle like crazy? The answer is yes. When you perform a lunge, your quadriceps are heavily engaged, especially during the downward and upward phases, while your gluteus maximus is highly activated when you push your body back to the starting position. It's a compound exercise, meaning it involves multiple joints, like the ankle, knee, and hip, which creates a broad stimulus and helps with muscle growth. If you start doing lunges consistently, you'll quickly feel the fatigue and, at the same time, notice results in the medium and long term. Besides increasing leg strength, this exercise helps with hip stability and can improve your running ability and ease in climbing stairs. Most people don't realize how much this simple movement can make them more agile in daily life. To perform it correctly, start by standing with your feet hip-width apart, back straight, and shoulders relaxed. Always look forward to keep your neck aligned. Take a step forward with one leg. Try to keep the step relatively long so that your back knee has enough space to bend. As you step, bend both your front and back knees. The goal is for your back knee to get close to the floor without touching it. Be careful not to let your front knee go too far past your toes. A slight overlap isn't a big deal, but try to keep your knee aligned near the middle of your foot to avoid putting too much stress on your joints. Push through the heel of your front foot to return to a standing position and bring your right foot back next to your left, returning to the starting position. Now, repeat the same movement with the other leg. As you progress, you can hold an external weight, like a 5-pound bag of rice, to make it more challenging. But remember, the point here is to show that you don't need any equipment. You can still push yourself hard even with just your body weight. Common mistakes to avoid. Taking too short of a step. If your step is too short, your front knee will extend too far past your toes, which can overload the knee. Plus, it reduces the range of motion for your glutes and hamstrings, letting your knee collapse inward. This happens when you don't maintain stability in your hip and knee, causing your knee to cave inward, leaning your upper body too far forward. As you lower yourself, you might lose posture and lean your torso too much forward. This reduces emphasis on the legs and puts strain on your back. Keep your chest open, not respecting your range of motion, going too low or not low enough. If you don't lower yourself enough, you won't work the muscles through a full range of motion. But going too low can put excessive strain on your joints if you lack strength or mobility. Now that we've warmed up our legs and started working on balance, let's move on to an exercise that's practically a full-body workout, the burpee. It's one of the few exercises that combine legs, arms, and, most importantly, cardiovascular conditioning all in one movement. The burpee is both loved and hated. Loved for the results and how insanely effective it is for burning calories, building endurance, and engaging multiple muscle groups at the same time. And hated because, well, it's intense. A lot of people feel that little wave of anxiety when they hear, "All right, time for burpees," But why is it so good? First, because it's a compound exercise that works several muscles at once. Second, because the high intensity forces your body to recruit muscle fibers quickly, especially in the upper body and in the lower body. When you do burpees consistently, your muscles adapt to handle the repetitive effort, which leads to increased strength and muscle growth, especially if you keep up the routine and gradually increase your reps or speed over time. How to perform it? Start standing. Lower yourself as if going into a squat, then place your hands on the ground in front of you. Quickly kick your legs back into a high plank position. You can either jump both feet back together or step back one leg at a time if you're a beginner. Perform a full push-up, lowering your chest to the floor if possible. Bring your legs back in, either by jumping forward or stepping. At this point, you'll be in a curled-up position, similar to a squat. Stand up quickly and jump with your arms extended overhead. If jumping is too difficult, rise onto your toes instead, but always try to challenge yourself. As you land, get right into position for the next burpee, remembering to absorb the impact by keeping your knees slightly bent. You can start with 3 sets of 8 to 12 burpees, resting 60 to 90 seconds between sets. Common mistakes to avoid. Doing the movement in a sloppy way. Burpees are intense, but that doesn't mean you should rush through them without proper form. Pay attention to your posture, keeping your torso aligned and knees stable. Not performing the push-up correctly. Some people do a cobra push-up, letting their hips drop to the floor first. Keep your core engaged and move in one solid motion. Landing too hard when jumping, try to land softly by bending your knees slightly to absorb the impact. Exercise number 5, push-ups. If you ask what the most well-known chest exercise without equipment is, the answer will probably be push-ups, and for good reason. To give you an idea of how powerful push-ups are, a study published in the American Journal of Preventive Medicine found that men who could perform 40 consecutive push-ups had a 96% lower risk of developing cardiovascular problems over a 10-year period compared to those who could do fewer than 10. This doesn't mean push-ups are a cure-all, but it shows how they're linked to overall physical conditioning, which in turn is a strong indicator of better cardiovascular health. When you get into a push-up position, you're placing your body weight on your arms and chest. It's essentially like pressing a load against gravity. The pectoralis major and triceps are particularly engaged. If you keep your core tight, you'll also be working on spinal stability and strengthening the shoulder girdle, as you have to support your entire body. Over time, this exercise creates micro tears in muscle fibers, which, as they repair, become stronger and bigger, leading to muscle growth. The problem is that many people still make small mistakes in this simple movement, so follow this step-by-step guide carefully. Place your hands on the ground slightly wider than shoulder width apart, and keep your feet together or slightly apart, depending on your balance. Your body should form a straight line from your heels to your head, no raising or dropping your hips. Engage your core to protect your lower back. Bend your elbows, lowering your chest toward the floor. Keep your elbows relatively close to your body. If they flare out too much, it can put excess strain on your shoulders. Lower yourself until your chest almost touches the ground, but don't relax completely. Maintain muscle tension. Push through your hands, extending your elbows to return to the starting position. Avoid locking out your elbows abruptly. Maintain controlled movement. Inhale on the way down and exhale on the way up. This helps maintain rhythm and stability. Common mistakes to avoid. Hips too high or too low. If your body isn't in a straight line, your lower back takes unnecessary strain. Elbows flaring out at 90 degrees. This puts too much stress on the shoulders. Try to keep your elbows at about a 45-degree angle from your torso. Cheating on range of motion. Many people only lower themselves a couple of inches before pushing back up. Focus on full range of motion, even if it means doing fewer reps. Exercise number 4, glute bridge. The glute bridge is that exercise where you lie on your back, place your feet on the ground, and lift your hips. A lot of people underestimate it, thinking it's too easy or just a warm-up move. But the truth is, when you lift your hips against gravity, your glutes are the main muscles driving the movement, assisted by your hamstrings. Holding the top position for a few seconds creates an isometric contraction, which helps stimulate muscle growth. especially when you progress the exercise by increasing hold time or performing it single-legged to challenge each glute individually. It's also great for people who sit for long hours, as it helps activate the muscles that tend to shut down due to inactivity. According to a study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research, doing glute bridges consistently can increase glute max strength by up to 30% in just 8 weeks when combined with a proper training program. Strengthening your glutes isn't just about aesthetics. It also plays a key role in preventing lower back pain, improving posture, and enhancing performance in activities like running and jumping. Lie on your back on the floor or on an exercise mat. Bend your knees and keep your feet hip-width apart, firmly planted on the ground. Extend your arms alongside your body with your palms facing down. Position your heels so that when you lift your hips, you feel the most activation in your glutes. A common mistake is placing your feet too far or too close to your glutes. Contract your glutes and push through your heels to lift your hips. Aim to form a straight line from your shoulders to your knees without overarching your lower back. Hold the contraction at the top, focusing on your glutes. Lower back down slowly, keeping control instead of just letting your hips drop. Repeat, always concentrating on glute activation. Mistakes to avoid: overarching your lower back. If you feel discomfort in your lower back, you might be compensating. Try slightly tilting your pelvis forward before lifting and keep your core engaged. Tensing your neck too much. Keep your chin slightly tucked, looking straight up, without pressing your neck into the ground. Not reaching full range of motion. Make sure to fully extend your hips at the top to get the most out of the movement. Failing to engage your glutes properly. Some people do this exercise mechanically, engaging more of their lower back or hamstrings. Actively squeeze your glutes at the top for maximum effectiveness. Exercise number 3. Triceps dips. This exercise is perfect for those looking to add definition and strength to their arms, as it places direct tension on the triceps, which often don't get as much activation in general exercises. It's also great for people who spend long hours on the computer and feel weakness in their shoulders and arms. Just like push-ups, triceps dips use your own body weight for resistance. As you lower your body, your triceps have to fight against gravity to push you back up. This creates tiny muscle tears, which, when repaired, make your muscles stronger and bigger over time. Use a sturdy chair, bench, or even a stair step. Sit on the edge of the chair or bench with your feet together and flat on the floor. Grip the edge of the seat beside your hips, with your fingers pointing forward. Slide your hips off the seat, shifting your weight onto your arms while keeping a slight bend in your elbows. Lower your body toward the floor by bending your elbows. Aim for about a 90-degree angle at the elbows. Don't go beyond this to avoid shoulder strain. Push yourself back up by extending your elbows, returning to the starting position. Keep your torso upright, core engaged, and avoid leaning your shoulders forward or shrugging them up. Mistakes to avoid: letting your elbows flare out too much. Keep them close to your body to maximize triceps engagement. Lifting your shoulders up. This unnecessarily tenses the upper back and neck. Keep your shoulders down and relaxed. Going too deep. Lowering past 90 degrees can put excess strain on the shoulders. Always respect your mobility and comfort limits. Using an unstable surface. Make sure your chair or bench is secure and won't slide. Safety first. Exercise number 2. Planks. The plank is an isometric exercise. This means you stay in a static position, contracting your muscles for a set amount of time. Even though it looks simple, it actually puts a lot of demand on your core, spinal stabilizers, and shoulders. The constant effort to keep your body aligned activates muscle fibers that fatigue over time. As you progress, these fibers get stronger, helping to define your abs and waistline overall. The main benefit? Core strength. A strong core is essential for everything: running, weightlifting, leg exercises, and even daily tasks like picking up objects from the floor without straining your back. Exercise number 1. Squats. This exercise deserves the top spot because it's simply considered the king of all exercises. Since it's a multi-joint movement involving the hips, knees, and ankles, it activates a large amount of muscle mass at the same time. In response to this effort, your body produces anabolic hormones like testosterone and growth hormone, which promote muscle hypertrophy. Plus, Performing full-range squats keeps your muscles under constant tension, leading to a high-calorie burn. To reinforce how beneficial squats are, a study published in the Journal of Orthopedic and Sports Physical Therapy found that individuals who regularly performed proper squats had up to a 50% lower risk of knee and lower back injuries compared to those who avoided this type of exercise. This happens because squats don't just strengthen muscles, they also fortify the tendons and ligaments that support the joints. Honestly, if I had known this earlier, I probably wouldn't have torn my ACL playing soccer in 2015. Mistakes to avoid: letting your knees cave inward. Keep them aligned with your toes. Lifting your heels off the ground. If your heels come up, you're either off balance or need to work on ankle mobility. Leaning your torso too far forward? This can strain your lower back. Keep your chest open and your spine neutral. If you enjoyed this, make sure to check out the video now appearing on your screen, where we reveal 11 daily habits that could be ruining your training efforts. Thanks for watching, my friend. May God bless you.